I do believe in term limits at the federal level, and I would term limit myself.
The special interests who've made Deb a millionaire will say anything to keep her in.
Time to sound off, Husker Nation. This is your Real Red Reaction Show on Lincoln's KFOR. Call the show now at 402-489-1240.
Welcome into the Real Red Reaction Show here on KFOR FM 101.5, 1240 AM. My name is Will Wilson, and it is your time to chime in and give your reaction to Nebraska-Ohio State. Nebraska hung in there. 21-17, they lost the game, and if there's any indication of what this chat is going to be like today, well, so far, I think every other comment is about Marcus Satterfield. How many screen passes did we have today, and how many of those did not work? And, well, for some reason, he kept going to it, especially in crunch time when we're trying to drive down the field and we're not getting anything going on those stupid screen passes. That right there is, I think, what the entire fan base is scratching their head about. We are waiting for Elijah and Chris Schmidt to get back to their hotel. They are in Columbus. They're traveling back to the hotel right now, so they will be on the stream at some point here in the next few minutes. We should be having JP on here at some point as well. But so that's the situation right now. Call the show, 402-489-1240. The phones are open for you. Nebraska hangs in there, and they showed a lot today. The defense looked really good. The run game looked good at certain times. And then, like I said just a few minutes ago, you go to these screen passes at the most inopportune times. I feel like Satterfield is so out of touch with the strengths and the weaknesses of his offense, specifically the receivers. I think Banks obviously had trouble with the perimeter blocking on those screen passes, and Satterfield kept going to it. Let's check out some of the comments on the stream. You can find the stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, KFOR Radio. You can find it, or on Hail Varsity Twitter page as well. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. Again, the phones are open, 402-489-1240. Tuck says Schmidt and Elijah should be at every away game. Yes, possibly. That might be something there. What is going on right now is criminal. What Sat is doing right now is criminal, said Brendan. Satterfield saying we need more big plays before calling 20 screens. That's from the real Matthew. Brennan then says, let's just keep throwing bleeping screen plays, huh? Yeah, especially on that final drive where you got to get down the field. You throw that one to the running back, and then you tried a wide receiver screen as well right after that, if I'm not mistaken. That was just poor play calling. And so far we're seeing I see a middle finger emoji next to Satterfield's name. That's from A-Dub. Tuck says, obviously, bye weeks are pointless. The real Matthew says they need to help DR out, and he isn't throwing as well as earlier in the year. However, the white haters that were coming out need to shut up. I'm right there with you. I thought the defense had a huge game. I thought Jamari Butler, he's the MVP for me on that defensive side. The D-line, I thought, showed up pretty well today. I thought they did pretty well against the Ohio State run, but I thought Jamari Butler, they were exposing. I think it was the left tackle who got hurt late in that game. I think he was already the second string or third string. They were exposing him. They made that Ohio State O-line, they made him not look great today, I thought. So I thought the defense, I agree with that comment. Crazy Spider says, so close, very happy, was competitive, good step after last week. I think we all can agree with that. That Indiana game was awful, but we look like you could maybe say we look like a legit football team. Now, I think we all agree Ohio State didn't play their best football today. I think we all agree that they didn't look very good, but, we still couldn't get on top of that and win the game. Vic says, well, they shouldn't hang their heads. They played a hell of a game, especially the D and the kicker. How about John Hull? Wow. That 54-yard field goal, I don't think any of us thought was going through, and he went 3 for 3 today. Very, very impressive, and that will get you feeling good. Actually, maybe that's why we were even in this game, is because, the field goal team showed up. Maybe we're a different team when they do, as any football team is. Jay Lou says it's almost like Satterfield doesn't know what the hell he is doing. Yeah, it does. Bruce from Spearfish, geez. What did I just watch? That end of the game was a debacle. And the flag, the targeting call, which helped us big time. We couldn't do anything with it with those 2 screen passes Satterfield decided to call there. Football fan, dude, we got to talk about Marcus Satterfield. You have to. You can't run. I thought the run game looked okay in certain spots. But you started doing those crappy, cute little short passes that we saw against Indiana. We got Triz in. Is this a 24-hour show today, Will? I don't know. We can only go an hour and a half here on KFOR. After that, we will keep the show going on the stream. We already got 1,400 listeners tuning in right now. Again, the phone lines are open, 402-489-1240. Yes, it is me right now flying solo, but we will have Schmidt and Elijah here jumping on momentarily. They should be jumping on the stream at any minute. They are up in Columbus. They are at the game. So they left. I think they left actually when Dylan Raiola exited the field with that. Did you guys see that shoulder injury he had? It seems like he's okay because he came out for the next drive. Loose Tuna Lips says Dylan is not good. Okay. Gray Woman says madness. And, of course, some more Marcus Satterfield comments. Football fan says Satterfield has lost us 2 games. That's true. Stephen Nichols, this game is a perfect encapsulation of why Satterfield needs fired. I've had a few people text me already. They want Satterfield gone as well. How do you feel about Marcus Satterfield after that game? Not doing himself any favors. Brett says, I'm sorry, but the screens didn't work all day. Why run it on first and second? Dylan can't throw, sure. But my God, what is up with the play calling trash? Yeah, really bad. Sad Husker, who is sad today. Although he does say he's honestly really proud of this team. I think we all are. Tristan says, please don't say screen the rest of the show. Okay, it's just me on the show right now. But when these other guys hop on, it's not going to be the last time you're going to hear screen. And I think we saw it way too many times today. As we have the pride of Fairbury, Bill Dolman's going to be joining us here in a minute. He's going to be joining us here in a few seconds. Let's keep going through some comments. Loose Tuna Lips, moral victory again for this loser program. Loose Tuna Lips is not happy after this game. Tim says the Huskers deserve a ton of credit. There's a lot of promise here. I agree. We hung with them. If a few things, if the play calling was just a little bit better, obviously that interception at the end of the game kind of screwed things over, but I thought we moved the ball well. Let's see if Bill Dolman's ready to go here. We got the pride of Fairbury on with us. Bill, you got me okay?
I might in a second.
All right. We're just going through some comments right now. Nebraska loses 21-17, 402-489-1240. Call the show. Get your voice heard here on the Real Red Reaction Show, sponsored by Slim Chickens. Bill, they almost did it.
Yeah, that was a much better performance than what we saw a week ago. No question about that. I've said for years and years and years, Nebraska fans, Nebraska people, Nebraska culture knows hard work, knows effort, knows honesty, accountability, all of that. And that's kind of wrapped up into the football program. And what Nebraska fans saw last week is unacceptable. And a lot of fan bases around the country, well, they just accept, we get beat and we really don't care. Nebraska fans know what good football is, what good effort is, and all of that. And they didn't see it last week, and justifiably so. Last week was really, really bad. And for a week, it's been unacceptable. A game like this, does it hurt to lose? Yes. But if Nebraska fans had seen the same effort, the same kind of execution in a lot of phases of the game last week, would have been hard to swallow. But you come back and go, you know what? Indiana's really good, but we see something. Didn't get that last week. Today, it's one of those losses where you go, yeah, we saw something. I think we can be proud of the effort. I think we have an understanding that it was not an easy assignment today. Now, are you happy with the loss? No, absolutely not. Because there were a lot of shortcomings because that game was winnable and it should have been won. But it's a hell of a lot better to see that kind of effort today than what we saw last week. There are still some issues with offensive play calling. There's no question about that. That wasn't significantly better. I don't know if that was, I don't know. There were things that I was just mystified by. And when you got the ball first down and goal at 7-yard line and you're chasing 3 yards, and how they didn't score a touchdown or do something a little creative inside the 7-yard, that to me was mystifying. And look, Dante Dowdell ran hard. He had a couple of elusive runs. But I know he grew up in Mississippi, probably watched a lot of Walter Payton and Jackson State highlights growing up as a kid. He jumps up, and I know he scored a touchdown with the leap over the right side. He's still not Walter Payton. Just run, and the diving into the end zone, that the football is exposed. On the touchdown that he scored, it would have been easy for somebody to just poke a hand in there and knock it away.
Yep.
Stay on the ground, climb over those big guys, see if you can't get in that way. But the leaping from the 3-yard line, that's unacceptable. So that sequence of the interception, getting knocked out at the 7, and then not doing anything to put points on the board. And look, I agree that they should have gone for it on 4th down, but they should have never gotten there. They should not have found themselves in 4th down and short. They should have done some things to move the pile left or right and done it that way. And so, yeah, that was kind of bad. But
Bill,
the effort was great.
Will, thank you both fellas for
hey there.
holding it down. We are back from Ohio Stadium, a nervous, agitated Buckeye fan base. Nebraska made it the 4-quarter game, had the lead, had the ball, chance to go win it. Ohio State stepped up and made a play. A lot of things to hit on here with Nebraska. 489-1240 to get in on Real Red Reaction. 489-1240 as we're here at the Ohio State Marriott. 489-1240 to get in and stream us and hear us here on KFOR, KFORnow.com. Officiating didn't lose the game, didn't help out Nebraska. A lot of offensive pass interference calls. If you had the over-under at 2.5 and you took the over, bada bing. That was interesting. Nebraska's defense, though, just phenomenal. 6 TFLs in the first half, 3 first-half sacks. You had the Ohio State go-ahead touchdown that ended up being the prevailing touchdown. That one drive, they were able to go 75 yards in 12 plays. Nebraska special teams actually showed up with coverage, and you had Rhule 3 for 3 from downtown. That's encouraging. Nebraska tackled better. And quite frankly, Ohio State hit a couple of big plays that their offense is quite capable. Got to be really proud of the run defense today for Nebraska. Got to feel a little bit better about Nebraska's rush offense, even though it's not where it needs to be. And yeah, if I ever see, how we wanted to ban and outlaw the swing pass during the Frost era, I think there needs to be some unicameral discussion on outlawing the short screenplay, not to the running back, but to the wide receivers. You just kept going backwards a couple of times in the red zone, Bill and Will and Elijah. It was rough. Great bounce back for Nebraska. You're going to chalk this up as we all hate the moral victory take, but this can help serve you moving forward the rest of the season. And Nebraska looked like they belonged today from a physicality standpoint, from an effort standpoint, and just from a confidence standpoint. So it was 14-3, and then you were wondering how this ball game was going to go. Nebraska able to answer, and the work they put in with the kicking game and the snapping. I know it sounds elementary, but it paid off today, and the ability to get some points at least. And a better effort for Nebraska. Tough one to take, though, for Nebraska as they lose 21-17.
I'm conflicted on how to feel about this football game. Disappointed, for sure. But they went out there and the things that we said they needed to do pregame, be the more physical football team, make Ohio State's offense one-dimensional. Like, you did those things. You went out there and hit field goals. The special teams was probably a wash today. Like,
who called for 3?
Bill Dolman.
Thank you.
you did the things that we said pregame you needed to do to go win this football game, and you still came up short. Ohio State's got great talent, but that was a game that really could have advanced you as a football program, advanced your rebuild. It was the prove-it game for what your rebuild was. After what happened last week, this was a chance to come back and say, you know what? That performance last week is not how this team is defined. You come up just short, which is the story of Husker football over the past 5 seasons. You come up just short. That's what's disappointing, because this was the prove-it game to put all that behind you and say, you know what? It's a different Nebraska now under Matt Rhule. You're unable to do so. But all that being said, you still got to feel encouraged that they went out there, executed the game plan, and were even in that football game late. So I'm conflicted on how to react to that football game. Part of me is encouraged and part of me is extremely disappointed, and I don't know how to feel.
I think you can feel more positive, and you need this team. You just showed it to a national audience that you can be a football team. We'll get to the phones here in a minute, but you can be this type of football team moving into November. This is how you show up in November on defense, on special teams, and with your quarterback. I thought Dylan looked poised. I love the fact that he was willing to run today. A 38-yard gallop was big, kept Ohio State off balance a little bit. Ohio State was still killer with some safety blitzes on a couple of key third downs in that third quarter. It's just brutal. You get no points out of a 1st and goal at the 6, at a 1st and 10 at the Ohio State 42, back-to-back drives. Your defense goes out there after you're stopped with the Walter Payton tribute to you get it back 3 and out. I mean, Ohio State had a stretch there of 5 straight 3 and outs where the defense was good. Will is with us here on Real Red Reaction. Will, thanks for hanging tight. Go ahead.
Yay, how you guys doing?
We found our way back about 1.5 miles that we got ditched by a couple of rideshare folks, and finally a taxi that said, I don't care if you're escorting a vehicle, i.e. you had police choppers escorting some little minivan. But our taxi driver said the hell with it and got us back here, about 10 minutes late into the show.
He used that police escort as his own.
Yes, he did. He thought it was for him. Or maybe it was just for Elijah. I don't know. But no, we're this is the game that you needed to see last week, but at least you saw it today, Will.
Yeah, the last drive was really interesting. It seemed like we were satisfied with the score 17-21 instead of trying to really score on that
go win it.
drive.
I think they were trying to score, but when push comes to shove, you've just got a couple of guys that you like to throw to on offense that aren't on the same page as your quarterback. With Dylan's trying to throw Nayor open, and that interception. I mean, Nayor didn't keep his route going. So that's not to single out him specifically as that he had a bad game. No, but it's just there's just a lot. I don't want to say lack of focus, but there's just some hiccups that continue on. Now, in those moments, you got to be confident. You got to be poised. And I didn't like, again, going with a screenplay. They didn't work all day, either the short passing game or the screenplay. Give me another slant. I'm going to go hindsight 2020, obviously, to play armchair offensive coordinator. But yeah, what do you have in your back pocket as a play caller for moments like this? So it could have been better. Ohio State knew Nebraska had to drive it to go get 7 to win, and they got the interception.
My last remark is, what's it going to take to get Satterfield out of here?
That's the head coach's decision, and that's his call. What's it going to take?
Check back, I'd say, the day after Black Friday. I think that's when we'll have our decision. But, play calling still left something to be desired today.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and that, again, I go back to the 1st and goal at the 7 after the interception. If you're just going to run it and leave Riola in I mean, if you're going to leave Riola in there, why don't you put it in the air at least once?
Look, listen to what we're saying. Damn it, throw the football inside.
I know. But given where we are with this Nebraska football team, right? I get that. But and I'm a run the rock, give it to the fullback. let Lance Lewis, Sam Schmidt, Mark Shalene, Jeff Makovica, Joel Matt, whatever. Rathman, let them pound it. I get what I'm saying here, but if you're going to have Dylan out there and the strength of his game is touch, and I know I see it in the chat. He's overthrown. Okay. But at least get them thinking about it. That maybe on first down you're going to throw, and then you run on second down, and they got to think that, well, Dylan might throw it. But if you're just going to run it again, put the big guy in there. Let Harburg tuck it under. I know he got stopped on one of his carries today, but let him just drive. Just let him drive behind Robinson and whoever else got in there, and give it a shot that way. But if Dylan is out there and he is a pro-style passing quarterback, let him at least give it a shot to throw it into the end zone and let Nair or Banks go up high and bring it down instead of just jamming it in, and then you run a little what was it, kind of counter to the right side that almost got there, didn't quite get there. We all know what happened, and then you give it to Dowdell to jump from the 3.5 yard line. Stay on your feet, give yourself a chance to drive. Maybe one of your teammates sees you and pulls you into the end zone with them. That's legal now. But once you leave your feet from the 3.5 or so, you haven't done it all season. Maybe stay on the ground and give yourself a better shot. But look, if Dylan's out there, give it a chance to one of those big guys to go up and get it. Fidoni's 6'6".
Yeah, find old 24, but Elijah had a great idea. How about a naked bootleg on that 4th and short?
Absolutely. That
could have walked in,
yeah.
But easier said than done.
Peyton Manning did it once in his 16-year career. It's the most famous run of his career when he did it at Dallas on Thanksgiving.
It was pretty good. JP's with us here. Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. 14th and Pine Lake, 84th and Old Shady. Get some wings, get some dessert, get a sweet tea. Make it a John Daly. Put a whole bunch of vodka to get through today's game. And I'm half kidding, but we'll get to some of your stream comments as well. You could have used Harburg inside the red zone. Nebraska, that third quarter is just going to haunt them today with the way they came out, the way it started. They played well enough to win today on the road here. I was fascinated with Ohio State's decision on some of those 3rd and shorts that turned into 4th and punts.
Well, instead of talking about
they were afraid to run it.
Instead of talking about Ohio State in those moments, can we give some credit to the Husker defense
That's where I
today?
was going.
The Husker defense today was fantastic. Like the third quarter offensive performance might haunt you, but the third quarter defensive performance is an A+. Husker defense is what kept you in this football game. You out-physicaled the Ohio State offense. You executed the game plan. Hats off to the Husker defense today. Especially after what happened last week. Big response game. Proud of that defense. Proud of the team as a whole, really, for how they performed today. It's disappointing, the results you get, but you walk away from this feeling like, what were we talking about 2 days ago? Is Nebraska going to make it to 6? You walk out of this football game feeling confident Nebraska is going to make it to 6. Would you have liked to get to 6 today? Absolutely, but so many areas of the game were improved. After talking about the past 6-7 games, things aren't improving. I think you saw things improve from field goal kicking, the defense tackling, the ability to stop a strong rushing attack. That's what Ohio State has been doing this year. They've been running the ball with a lot of success with 2 guys that can power through you. The defense did great there. Yeah, play calling leaves a little to be desired. That final drive leaves a lot to be desired, but I'm impressed with how the team came out and responded after all the stuff that's been going around this week in the media, from the fans. A lot of people counting this team out. They didn't hear the noise. They went out there and performed well.
JP, some takeaways. You can dial us up here, 489-1240, Real Red Reaction. How do you feel about today's effort? Are you conflicted?
I'm glad that Elijah gave a shout out to the Blackshirts, because they definitely stepped up. This was a completely different game for them. There were moments where just bad pass coverage or a step and the running back gets open for a wide receiving touchdown. There were just a few mistakes, but for the most part, I'd say they got maybe an A- or a B+ for their grade. If I were to grade them for what they did today, I do not know. And I just got Elijah's invite, so that's why I'm jumping. I don't know if he's talked about it yet or not, but I do not know why we continue to go to those dumb screens They are a waste of plays. It does nothing for anyone except make everyone's blood pressure go through the roof. It doesn't work. Our guys can't block. It doesn't work. Don't do it anymore. You need to rip those plays out of the playbook, burn them, whatever you got to do, rub some sage on it. I don't give a crap. Just get rid of those plays and move on.
Well, you have officially banned the word screen moving forward on these airwaves.
Good.
Did I get that correct?
Yeah.
7-second delay.
Somebody wanted us to do that, but I said that was going to be nearly impossible, considering we saw how many today?
Yeah.
8 of them.
100.
How many went for positive yards? 2.
I think the final set was
None.
9 for 8 yards. Is that right?
I think you're right.
9 for 8?
I said it earlier. I think it's Satterfield just kind of being not really knowing what his strengths and weaknesses are, especially with the receivers. I mean, Banks was struggling with the perimeter blocking, and they kept going to him.
Yeah, that's the thing is I don't blame Banks in this moment. Does he leave a lot to be desired perimeter blocking? Yes.
Don't keep calling it.
Why do you keep calling it where he's going to be blocking
Right.
for Jacoby Carney? It's that's coaching malpractice is what that is.
Mm-hmm.
9, 12, 40, 489, 12, 40. Rule of the day says Lintz drink away the screen game. We are going till about 4:10 Central Time on air and more time for you, potentially here with the digital version, Hail Varsity YouTube, Real Red Reaction. YouTube's where you can go. A lot of complaints towards Sat in the stream. That's par for the course here. Offense, I guess, did enough to win it today. I mean, you look at the point total, 17. That's a high number for them, quite frankly, in Big Ten play, aided by 3 field goals. You didn't have Hill at corner. I thought Nebraska's defense played exceptionally well. Loose Lips is talking about the overthrows from Riola. Ball was where they needed to be a lot of times. You didn't have a clean break on a couple of those, but yeah, you want to be able to connect with those a couple of times. So you saw a mixed bag of some of the throws downfield. You were able to, Bill, at least draw some defensive pass interferences. I think you were +1 on the interference calls. You got 4, you lost 3.
Is that in the playbook now? Let's just here's what you need to do. Get close to your defensive back that's covering you. We'll throw the ball in your area and do whatever you can. Don't catch it. But whatever you can do, try to draw contact, and then we'll get the DPI, and then we'll just move downfield. But whatever you do, don't get caught for interference on your. It's like this play that has trickled down from the NFL, just trying to get pass interference penalties as opposed to completing passes and trying to get yards after catch. Nebraska got caught on that. What was it? Banks had one, and I think there were a couple of offensive pass interference.
Got one. Lloyd got one.
Yeah, and then
they were just,
one in the first half was terrible. The one in the second half was minimal at best. Great catch, on the one that he got caught on in the second half. One thing about this, as I'm listening and I'm looking at the chat, I think one thing this game did, I think it averted and may have quieted. I think it ended the fear of apathy for the rest of the season. I think Indiana people were ready to, they're ready to chuck it in and call it good. And, let's get on to, winning our 62nd consecutive offseason national championship and just end it. But I think people saw, especially defensively, the adjustment in attitude, changes in attitude, changes in latitude. So I think that
don't say latitude.
You made 3 field goals, and my God, on the first field goal, I think it was the first field goal made. Fox showed a replay of the kick. Did you see the snap back to the holder?
Not good.
It wobbled like a 5-year-old throwing to his dad. I mean, it was a duck ready to be shot. And so how that ball got caught off, I don't know, is it Buschini that's doing the holding, kind of catches it about face mask high, a wobbler, and gets it down, and the kick was made. I mean, that was a remarkable kick given the snap, and to see Nebraska get a couple of kicks. So that was good. But I think most importantly, this game today, I think averts apathy. I think people go into UCLA next week going, that team that played today should have won at Ohio State. I think some play calling averted that. The defense was good enough to win. It's a defense that I think will shut down UCLA completely. And I think people feel like they'll win next week, and they've got a chance to win maybe a couple of more, especially Wisconsin at home. That's how much I think the defensive effort and the hope that you might have in special teams today. I think we averted apathy in the second half of the season, which is a huge thing.
Luke with us hanging tight here on Real Red Reaction, 489-1240 to get in. Luke, thanks for hanging on. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys. I usually judge a Nebraska game based on how many drinks I have over the course of it, and I only needed a few today, so there we go, as opposed to last week. Just a couple of comments I had, and then an overall question. Everyone's been saying it. Satterfield's play calling with screens. I don't know. It was just irking me as we got further and further on into the game. Defense played great. Tony White, great rebound game after that Indiana game. Like I said, that one needed a few drinks before I was able to stomach that. But overall, my question is kind of, when are we going to stop finding silver linings in games, like in these one-score games? And when are we actually going to make the jump to win these games? Because there were many chances for us to really take advantage of Ohio State pick by Hartsogs, getting down to the 1 yard line. You know, that was a chance to really put our stamp on the game. When are we going to get past that point?
Well, they got to win one, man. Obviously, clearly. But I mean, I think a lot of us were expecting that Vegas number 25.5 to be a reality. The way Nebraska was able to hang in thanks to their defense and do just enough moving the football to at least get some field goal conversions. I think, I don't know about you guys, but I'm surprised that they were able to be okay, air quote, on offense today to stay in it. They played some complimentary football. The silver lining point is well made, Luke. But right now, as I just sit and process the ball game, I mean, that's kind of my feel is, all right, it was supposed to be a lot worse. Could have had it. Didn't.
You're half yard away.
I know.
Half yard away from winning the football game.
And it was the same guy doing the same thing with the same result, trying to go Superman over the top. And I guess if I'm a Nebraska fan, I'd be more proud of the fact that they were in it till the end versus, man, pissed that they lost.
Yeah. I 100% was thinking this was going to be a repeat of 62-3 from a few years ago. I had no faith in us winning this game.
No, so I'm going to stick with the silver lining, I guess, until they finally get one of these handled, and maybe this is the final. Dudes, you were right there. You were that close to get them over the hump. The next one-score ball game, because you're going to have a whole lot of opportunities in November to be on the right side of a one-score ball game.
And we got our special team, I hope, sorted out. That's the big takeaway.
Easy.
And don't jinx us.
You gotta have positives, man. You got to take it. Hall, I can't believe he drilled a 50-yarder today.
Yeah, that was big time.
He's not alone there.
Luke, thanks for the phone call, bud. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Yep.
Guys, can you believe that we're 34 minutes into this show now? And at least since I've sat down, we haven't talked about the refs once.
We're getting there.
Let's dissect us first, and then we'll take on the rest.
We are pacing ourselves, but Nebraska right there, chance to put a game-winning drive together. Couldn't get it done. Defense incredible. Rush game better. Kicking game way better. And Nebraska just had a couple of busts. Ohio State's going to do that to about everybody. That's what they're good at. 40-yard touchdown pass, 60-yard touchdown pass. But then they couldn't really pee a drop, quite frankly, after those two plays. They missed a field goal on a drive, and the black shirts stood up something fierce. We'll have post comments from Rhule here coming up. We'll have some comments from some of the players as well. and 489-1240. 489-1240. We're 34 minutes in. Do we need a break or can we keep going? We need a break. Will's like, we need to do a TV timeout or a radio timeout. So stick with us. Load up the phones here on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal. We're live here in Columbus. Big thanks to Bill Dolman and JP and Will Wilson for hammering it out as we fought our way back here just a little bit tardy. And we'll take more of your comments in the stream, more of your comments here on Real Red Reaction on KFOR, KFORnow.com.
I'm Joe Villamonte, president of the Lincoln Police Union. There's a lot of misinformation in this election, so I'm here to set the record straight. Chelsea Johnson is the only candidate endorsed by the Lincoln Police Union in the race for Lancaster County Commissioner. She's got common sense, and she's committed to public safety. That's why the Lincoln Police, Lincoln Firefighters, and Nebraska Fraternal Order of Police agree. Chelsea Johnson is the only candidate we trust to stand up for us and keep our community safe. I hope you'll join me in supporting Chelsea Johnson on November 5th.
Paid for by Chelsea Johnson for Lancaster County.
Why should Nebraskans believe anything Deb Fisher says about Dan Osborne when Fisher's made a career out of breaking her promises, like her promise on term limits?
I do believe in term limits at the federal level, and I would term limit myself.
The special interests who've made Deb a millionaire will say anything to keep her in office. This November, don't get catfished. Vote no on Deb Fisher's lies.
Retired Career Politicians PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Hello, I'm Jose Hernandez, and I have been using a wheelchair since my accident in 1995.
My name is Andrea Dalzell, and I've been using a wheelchair since I was 5 years old.
I guess if I had one message for the general public, it would be that I appreciate your help. But please, ask first.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that I've actually got everything under control.
I think people get nervous. They don't know how to act, so they pretend I'm not there.
What probably bothers me the most is when waiters talk to my companion and not directly to me.
I think everyone with a disability can relate to that parking spot problem.
We know you're just parking in a disabled spot for a second, but please, don't. We're just looking for the same respect and consideration as everyone else.
The United Spinal Association is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life of people living with spinal cord injuries and disorders. Download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway.
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows.
This is the Real Red Reaction Show. Phones are open now. 402-489-1240.
Live in Columbus, Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal. It's Real Red Reaction, Slim Chickens powering this post game. 489-1240, 489-1240. Find your way to Slim Chickens. See Hooksy and the crew. Get some wings, get some dessert, get some chicken fingers, maybe a salad for some of us that ate a side of beef last night, and can find those locations at 14th and Pine Lake, 84th and Old Shady. Proud of Fairbury is in. Bill Dolman, Will Wilson from the Morning Hookup, JP from station you love, 96 Kicks, and taking your phone calls here till 4:10 Central. on KFOR, KFORnow.com. Staying in the stream, Hail Varsity, YouTube, Real Red Reaction, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as Nebraska falls. And what could have been 21-17. Elijah asked the question, so how do you feel as a Nebraska fan with that effort, with that result? And it's absolutely mixed. It's so mixed. Tiger Shark Diver checks in. I'm so happy. Such a moral victory, second place trophy. Right. I get it. A lot of you are ticked that Nebraska went that far into the fight and didn't get it handled against number 4 at home. And I'll take that over last weekend, clearly from a point differential, but they just looked like the team they're supposed to look like. On defense, for sure. They look like the team they're supposed to look like, a little more consistent on special teams, guys. And from an offensive standpoint, there was more good than we've seen in a while on offense. It's still not a good offense, but there's encouragement, which is what you need going into November with the run game, with the weather that's looming. I thought you saw some pretty clutch plays at times by Dylan Rhule. I like the fact that, again, I'm going to reiterate that they used his legs, or he decided to use his legs a little more. You just got into that overthinking part of things with your play sheet sometimes, or just downright lack of execution. And there's no thinking, no thought anymore on calling any short passes. I think that is being ripped out of the playbook as we speak and being incinerated. Captain says, I missed a hell of a football game when I was golfing, clearly. And says he hopes my 18 was good. I wish. Captain wants us to free Reverend Rhule. We can't do it. He's been banned for a year. Forgive me.
I think that's Captain, by the way.
Oh, probably so. It just got a little too vulgar. And I'm pretty laid back. The FCC isn't. So turned me a little bit grayer. Brian checks in. Final drive was pathetic. Let's call screen passes that don't work. Let Sat walk back to Lincoln. He's paid how much again? And we were watching the last 4 minutes on our phone, waiting to get back here. What happened with Hartzog? Can someone fill me in? Did he get dinged?
Yeah, he did. I can't remember what play it was. But he did. He was being helped off the field.
It looked like he was reaching for his hamstring when he walked off the field. So, yeah, about that last couple of minutes, when Nebraska had the ball, I what did the analytics say? I was surprised Nebraska didn't run a play before the 2-minute timeout, because they ran the play. They took it all the way down to the 2-minute timeout and then ran a bad play out of the break, but if you had snapped the ball and, before the 2-minute, before the clock hit 2 minutes, then you would have had a stoppage and or however many timeouts they had on the other side of the 2 minutes. So they let it go all the way down, and then the play happens, and then the clock just continues to tick down. Nebraska didn't have the benefit of, well, they ran the play, then, okay, let's go draw something up on the sidelines, preferably not a screen pass. But I thought that was a curious clock episode of clock management again. I don't pay attention to analytics. I know they love that kind of stuff, but why not run the play? And if you don't make it, then take the 2-minute timeout to figure out what you're going to do in the next one. Instead, the clock just wound down.
It comes down to prep, JP, doesn't it? In those moments, the 2-minute drill, you rep it, you practice it, you want it to be executed better. They've shown the ability at the end of halves to do it. Need to transition it to end of games.
Well, and it felt like, was it the Illinois game all over again, where we ran a bunch of plays that we just kept getting our quarterback sacked. And it's like, why are we running these plays? Why didn't we have a better situation set up for the last 2 minutes of the game? What are you guys doing that you can't run plays specifically for that time period? Why? It just, again, the dumb middle screen, the dumb effort at trying to run a play just up the middle with the running back. Like, just make some moves, make some things happen, get some misdirection, give it to Fedoni and get him a cross pattern. Would have been great, because he could have ran right out of bounds. there was a bunch of opportunities to run different plays, and then we just basically repeated what we did the last time around, and it didn't work.
At some point, that screen is going to work, and he's going to see, I knew it. I knew it was going to work.
One of the times, 1 out of 1,000.
Well, you know what I noticed? I mentioned this to Schmitty. There was that play on Nebraska's touchdown drive in the fourth quarter where they take the lead. Fedoni gets open over the middle of the field. Defender falls down. The one guy I saw blocking downfield with great success was Ja'Cory Barney.
Barney and Lloyd like to beat the hell out of people downfield.
Yeah, you look at the other 6'3" and 6'4", and you ask, why aren't they doing that? It's a combination of effort and technique. When it's not one thing, it's another. But it just makes you sit back and go, what's going on whenever your little guys in the field are the guys that are blocking downfield success? It was Jalen Lloyd on Dylan Raiola's scamper that was blocking downfield really well, giving him a lane to run through. Like, it makes no sense to me.
We need to bring Kenny Bell in. We need to bring Kenny Bell in and have him teach him how to block downfield. Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be all right. Give me. We just ran into to Willis McGahey's stepdad. He's here. Said what's up.
Nice.
He's checking the show out. Second strip sack for McGahey this year. And Tiger Shark's right on. Two of the skiddiest on the team. It's called Heart. There's some of those 50-50 balls too that the big guys didn't quite come up with, where you'd like to have them back, but. All in all, you had seven TFLs for Nebraska, 2 sacks. Defense, fellas, 1 for 10. Ohio State 1 for 10 on third down, and that one was that Hartzog pass interference, the hold where Howard got rocked by Ty and Polar Bear as he let it go. And I was. I'm not screaming because I'm a professional, but I was like, Elijah, that's not catchable. And he looks at me and takes his glove off and slaps me with it. It's not catchable because they're going to get held. Kevin is on the line. Kevin, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us here on Real Red Reaction. Go for it.
Kevin, you there, man?
Hello, Kevin.
I hear something in the background from Kevin.
Yeah, I do too.
Is it the fridge door slamming and a bottle opening?
Hi, this is Kevin. Can you hear me? I just want to let you know that the Average Joe Sports Show will be at 9:30 in the morning, live on Sunday.
Central Time.
That's what I'm calling about. My name's Kevin. I'm an Average Joe Sports Show listener.
Kevin, do we have you? Hello, Kevin.
Yeah. Elijah and Schmitty have to catch a Greyhound bus tomorrow morning, so that's why we're going an hour early. Be sure to join us then.
Kevin, 489-1240, 489-1240, 800-825-5865. And you just wonder.
All right, let's see if this works, guys. Here.
All right.
Oh, I think I got him back, maybe.
Hey, Will.
Hey, Kevin, you there?
Kevin, we got you. Go for it.
Now he's gone.
All right.
Is this me, baby?
Oh, no.
Rhule, baby.
Oh, we've been duped.
Oh, no.
The Reverend.
He hung up. He got scared.
I was going to let him go for it.
Will, is the delay working? It's got to be like super power charged.
It is working, yes.
Thank God. All right. Vic in Denver checks in. Not happy with Sat. We'll hear from Matt Rhule. What, 4-minute opening?
4-minute opening statement from Matt Rhule. So I know Will's working on that. That's why he's dipping on out of the studio and getting everything cut up and ready to go. So we'll have that shortly for you. Have heard, and from the little bits I've seen on social media, Rhule's very impressive today. So excited to hear what he has to say about the game today.
Let's get into the officiating. Let's dive into the Zebras. The texts I get from friends and family. Why does the Big Ten still hate Nebraska? Is the question I get. My response is, well, when there's litigation by you towards the league, they don't forget, nor do they forgive. On a serious note, you've had brutal officiating, horrible inconsistency. You've had the offensive pass interference calls that were just trash today against Nebraska. But the fourth down, the run by Emmett, where he got the first down
by a yard and a half.
By almost 2 yards.
And the thing is I know a lot of Husker fans were immediately calling for the fix is in, the rig is in, refs hate Nebraska. I have seen refs actively engaged in point shaving that were less obvious with their bad calls than this. Like, are they? Is the rig out, or is the game rigged against Nebraska? Or the refs rigged against Nebraska? I don't think so. I just think it's the incompetence of college football refereeing right now that's leading to what we're seeing on the field. Because if you were trying to shave points, or if you were trying to do whatever, the fix is in, you wouldn't be that obvious. It was that bad today.
Well, here is the drive chart for Ohio State. Punt, 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 kickoff, punt, kickoff, kickoff, downs, punt, kickoff, punt, interception. I mean, the defense did a flat-out fantastic job, obvious. We'll also kind of highlight some of Nebraska's play calls and what went down that final drive with 3 and change to go win the ball game. But overall, let's hit on the officiating a little more. What was the worst call of the game? Was it the fact that Jamari Butler got put into a Randy Macho Man Savage headlock and there was no flag? Was it some offensive pass interference penalties that stalled Nebraska drives? Or was it
not a first down? How about the not a first down, first down?
That's the biggest one.
That was.
How were you not seeing?
Yeah, that's egregiously bad because that cost Nebraska 30 seconds.
And a timeout.
And it was in a timeout. And it was, and I know Joel Klatt said at the end of the game, or at the end of the half, you guys wouldn't have heard it, but Klatt said, well, that drive should have ended in 3, and it did end in 3. So that's, all kind of works its way out. But Nebraska had 30 seconds that rolled off the clock because it was obvious. I mean, it took me back to Penn State 1982 when the tight end caught the ball a yard and a half out of bounds, and the officials didn't see that. And it was a yard and a half beyond the first down line. And the officials are apparently looking at somebody who was down on the play. But to me, how does somebody in Replay Central or up in the booth or wherever say, whoa, guys, you got that really wrong. We got to stop this. Because they review turnovers. They immediately review scoring plays. They review turnovers. They have the ability to immediately call down and say, we're going to take a look at this. They look at targeting. So when you have something that egregiously wrong, then you got to say, whoa, guys, we are spotting that wrong. Let's get it right. And I don't think anybody would. Ohio State probably would have said, well, we shouldn't have done that. But that was really bad just because the official sees a red pant leg fall down at the 40-yard line and not the ball falling at the 41.5-yard line. That had a huge impact on the way the last minute of the first half played out. Yes, Nebraska ended up getting a field goal out of it, but they should have had an opportunity to move down a little bit more, and maybe, who knows, maybe they get a touchdown out of that. But that was bad. And look, I know they're taking some rules and innovations from the USFL or the UFL. A couple of years ago when that league started, they were going to have the eye in the sky official who was going to say, have an overview and say, no, that was not catchable, or have, some way of adjudicating the game because the officials on the field just can't see it from their point of view. That was one of the worst calls that I have seen in a long, long time.
Horrible. Absolutely brutal. Will, a little
that
update.
Wasn't even judgment. That wasn't even interference calls are judgment. Holding calls can be judgment. That was just egregiously bad.
Will, is someone on the phone lines?
No. Well, there was, but he said his name was a very bad word. So I told him to get on.
Okay. Well done.
Yeah, thank
the
you.
iron fist of one Will Wilson.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
the gatekeeper.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're efforting Matt Rhule post.
Yes, we are. Yep, we're rolling on it right now. So we should have it here in about 10 minutes.
Okay. So more comments. Wade checks in. who's in charge of fair officiating, not only in the Big Ten, but all of college football? If no one, then why? Good question. And then, I mean, Ohio State got popped with a targeting, and then another penalty is as Ryan Day slammed his headset. One of the funnier tweets I saw today was the fact that, with the first half officiating and how it went, against Nebraska, someone hinted that Bo would have been arrested by now. Had Bo been on the sideline for that.
I'm just glad Texas fans apparently travel like Antifa. They just go where there's bad officiating and they protest. That. How is there not a penalty after what happened in the Texas-Georgia game? If you want to get that under control, you better start throwing some penalties against somebody. Otherwise, the fans are going to do this all the time now. We're just going to throw bottles on the field. We're going to give the officials more time to take a look at replay and come up with something. I mean, Kirby Smart had every reason to be upset last week, and his team won. But if Georgia had lost because of what went down in Texas last week, you're going to see those bottles on the field coming more and more and more. There's got to be some type of penalty for the home field. Colorado fans are going to bring their own piss bottles and throw those instead of throwing them at Folsom Field. They're going to throw them everywhere they go. But at some point, there has to be some penalty for the fans, or you just say, look, if the bottles are coming, we're not looking anymore. We cannot overturn anything to penalize that situation. It's almost as bad as players going down and faking injury, because if fans think that they can do it and get away with it, like players get away with it every week, then it's just going to continue to happen.
Well, there needs to be some uniformity with what amount of hand-to-hand combat is allowed, the secondary and wide receivers, because you've got instances and screenshots up on Twitter where Barney's trying to come out of a break, Nayor's trying to come out of a break, Banks trying to come out. I mean, pick a receiver where they're being held. They're being held beyond the 5 yards, and it slows the break. It's a incomplete pass. There's a no call, and it's time to punt on a crucial third down. So give me consistency. Be bad for everybody, or hopefully be good at some point with it. So, Dylan Raiola, Mitch Sherman tweeting out that quote here from Dylan as he talked to the media afterwards as well. Quote, "I couldn't be any more proud of where we're headed." So you needed this, Bill, and you touched on it, just to reset that, you were ready to probably figure out fall activities, some of you, and I get it. Had today gone really, really bad. We've gone sideways like last week. The apathy part that Nebraska fans have stayed away from the light for a while. Mm-hmm. It's good to see Nebraska rise up and keep it a 4-quarter game.
Well, I mean, speaking of rising up, Ohio State today, only 64 yards on the ground. Nebraska held them to 2.1 yards per rush on 31 attempts. And how about the Husker defense holding Ohio State 1 of 10 on third down? Just a banner day from the Husker defense. The 221 through the air, Ohio State's going to do that. They have the weapons. That's what I think might be most disappointing to me from today is like that defense, the performance they put up there, they don't get rewarded with a win. So many guys had their best days as Huskers. I think Jamari Butler had a day you could say was arguably his best day as a Husker. MJ Sherman. Yeah, it was an absolute challenge from Pot Roast to see who's going to step up and play football today. And you had a defensive line full of guys that were playing with their hair on fire. The defensive backs, were they perfect? No. Did they do enough? Yes. Kept a lot of things in front of them. Only the one really bad one that you think of is that touchdown over Gifford where they run the play action. Great time for a shot from Ohio State. You tip your cap to the play caller, Ryan Day, or Chip Kelly, I should say, and Ryan Day as well. But so many guys on the Husker defense played well. You're disappointed for them that they're not able to walk away with a victory. But how could you not be encouraged by that performance, what those guys put out in the field today? I mean, to make that Ohio State team one-dimensional, there's not many defenses in college football that can do that, and Nebraska did that today. That was the goal, and that's what they did.
489-1240 to get in on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens, 14th and Pine Lake location, 84th at Old Cheney. As Elijah and myself, we're here in Columbus on site for the ball game, made it back. And Will Wilson with us, JP, and the Pride of Fairbury, Bill Dolman. So Nebraska is familiar spot, fellas, 5-3 going into November. And let's go positive here for a moment. We talked about the officials. We've hit on the defense and how lights out for the most part they were today. On offense, I know it's not popular, but let's say, all right, what did we like about the offense today? I thought you saw a really Bill's going crickets on me. I think you saw a step forward with your quarterback. I mean, Dylan looked a lot better than he has in quite a while. I thought you saw more, dare I say, commitment, Elijah, to the run game, where, okay, you ran it, you got some success. And then in that fourth quarter, I mean, some of those runs were starting to pop. That go-ahead touchdown, that was not only the execution, but you had a great mix of run and pass. You had several 12 to 15-yard gainers, the big one to Fedoni for 30+. You had a couple of 14-yard runs by Dowdell. Nebraska motored down the field to take the lead. They looked ready for the moment in that fourth quarter. And I think their confidence continued to grow the longer they hung around, in large part because they got some points. They didn't have empty trips. And then the defense kept stepping up and really found a wonderful groove. I'll give Ohio State some credit. They just mixed in enough quarterback run with Howard on that go-ahead touchdown run or drive to make it 21-17 to just keep Nebraska off balance. They didn't have to settle for 3 to tie it. Ohio State got in, and that was the one time they had to answer the bell, or the one time they did answer the bell in the second half against the Nebraska defense. So hats off to 2 of the 3 phases, and at least you get a passing grade today from the offense versus the last couple of weeks.
It's a C-. And we have a caller on the line. We'll get to that in just 1 second. But the one thing I'll give Marcus Satterfield credit for, he was less painfully predictable. Like, if you're Ohio State, after the first couple screen passes, you would have said, there's no way they're running that again. They run it again. Like, who would have predicted that? So less painfully predictable for Marcus Satterfield. Hats off to him. Who's on the line, Will?
We got Kevin. I believe we have him this time.
All right. Kevin, you're with us. Go for it.
Hey, thank you, guys. Great show. Yeah, I did have the refrigerator open earlier. I guess that was me. Anyway, you guys. Hey, yeah.
What do you got to say, Big Ken?
1 for 11 on 11 first downs, 1 for 10 on third downs. Kudos to the defense. My God, what a turnaround, right? But I want you guys to think about one damn play. I was so pissed. Okay, we have a targeting call that goes in our favor in the fourth quarter, late in the game, 3 minutes left. We come back, we get that call. We have a procedure penalty, so we're first and 15. Then we throw the middle screen, or whatever the hell that was. Then we're second and 18. But here's the play. I don't know. I think number 0 for Ohio State saved their butt. I was going to say something else, because that screenplay on second 18 to Emmett Johnson, if number 0 hadn't have tackled him, he had green space all the way down the right side of the field, and he may have scored. So hell of a call by Satterfield. That's all I had to say. But did you guys see that? Did you see how much space he had? My God.
Yes, you're right.
Saved their ass. Sorry.
Game of inches, man. And it more times than not, Ohio State's linebacker was there on the screen, not the wide receiver screen, which is now a dirty word or words, but the play to Emmett. Yeah, the guy was right there waiting for it. And we talked about Sat being a little less predictable. Well, there was some predictability there with the propensity to go for some screenplays, and
I guess
it didn't work out.
My God, that did you all see how much he could have scored? Did I open the refrigerator too often, or did I see that right?
You saw it right.
You saw it right.
You saw it right.
My God.
Yep.
Oh,
I think it would have gone for 19. I think it was just.
Would have gone for 19 yards, and then there'd have been a manufactured penalty against Nebraska.
Well, that or set it up for another screenplay. Don't score. We want to set up another screenplay.
Kevin, thanks for the phone call, brother. Appreciate you listening and checking in.
Kevin, just love you guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Real Red Reaction here on KFOR, KFORnow.com. You can also stream Hail Varsity YouTube, Hail Varsity Twitter, Real Red Reaction YouTube, KFOR Facebook and Twitter, and stream KFORnow.com. Kind of a choppy end to the fourth quarter. A lot of delays, a lot of reviews, a lot of trying to figure it out. JP getting heat from Ryan about his Yankees hat. That had to hurt last night, JP.
I know this is the Husker reaction show, but Shmish had to add some insult to injury there.
Well, you got Dodger fan in the box.
I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah. You know, it's like the football games. You just got to go one game at a time. Clean the slate, start fresh, come out swinging.
Did anybody get to the sports book and take Nebraska today in the points? Is my question.
I believe Compton did, if you're thinking about that. I mean, I think he made some money off of that one, but I didn't, unfortunately.
I was just wondering. So Captain checks in. Let me ask this question. Did Ohio State get lucky today? I think they escaped.
I think they escaped, and I think they got exposed more this week than they did in their loss against Oregon. I'm watching this game, and I don't want to take away from what Nebraska did. I think Nebraska made them look not like the fourth-ranked team in the country. I think that they have some glaring issues. I think Nebraska's defense is still elite, despite what happened against Indiana. That was just an October anomaly. I hope anyway. But I was impressed with what Tony White and company dialed in, except for that last touchdown that Ohio State scored. You just had that feeling like they were going to come out and do it, and they did it. But I look at that Ohio State team, and I did not think their offensive line was that great. But again, they're going against the Nebraska defensive line that's pretty good and was dialed in. I think Smith is a phenomenal receiver, but where did he go in the second half? Was that because of pressure that Nebraska put on them from the outside? And as you said, Butler had a tremendous game. I thought the secondary played well. They made some good adjustments, and that was evidenced by Hartzog's interception. But I think Will Howard is a good veteran quarterback, much like Rourke was last week with Indiana. But I'm not sure that's the elite kind of quarterback that's going to, win you beyond the first round. They're going to be in the playoff, but I'm not sure that Ohio State is a second round team I don't think they're getting into the final game.
I don't know if they're going to make it into the Big Ten championship game.
I would agree with that. I think Nebraska exposed them a lot for Penn State next week.
For Penn State next week, for Indiana in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Indiana's a way better team than Ohio State was.
We can't go transitive property. We can't do that. But I want to. It would make me feel a lot better if we could.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick time out. We'll get you back. More Real Red Reaction for you into the stream and open phone line at 489-1240. We'll come back where we'll hear from parts of Matt Rhule. First half of his presser coming up. It's Real Red Reaction powered by Slim Chickens here on KFOR, KFORnow.com.
Your geothermal system is a smart investment in sustainability and efficiency. Trust the experts at John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. Get details at calljh.com or call
435-5555. Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Now's the time to get your John Deere equipment inspected and prepared for next season. Acres trained technicians will thoroughly evaluate your machine and get it running at peak performance. And for a limited time, Acres is offering early inspection incentives. Sign up before December 15th and qualify for a discount on parts installed by Acres. Get no interest and no payments until November of 25 with approved financing through John Deere Financial. Some restrictions apply. Contact your nearest Acres location for details.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Well, in Nebraska, it's your all-time favorite president, Donald J. Trump, and Deb Fischer has been a supporter of mine from the beginning, and she's been a friend of mine. She does a very, very good job. She's solid as a rock. She's totally for the farmers. She wants the state of Nebraska taken care of. So it's very important that we get out and support her. We want somebody that's going to be strong, powerful, and great for our country. And it's not going to be Dan Osborne. He's a radical left person, really a Bernie Sanders type Democrat.
President Trump knows Dan Osborne supports the Green New Deal, a socialist takeover of health care, and amnesty for illegal immigrants. But Deb Fischer is on his side.
Vote for Deb Fischer. She has my complete and total endorsement. She will continue to make you proud.
Deb Fischer for Senate.
This is the Real Red Reaction Show. Phones are open now. 402-489-1240.
Back here in Columbus, road show for us here, Real Red Reaction. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbal, Pride of Fairbury's Bill Dolman, JP from 96 Kicks, Will Wilson. Time for you to get in at 489-1240. We are taking you till 10 after the 4 o'clock Central Hour. And then some more time if you want to stream along on Hail Varsity and the Real Red Reaction YouTube channel. Let's get to Matt Rhule, post-game thoughts here on KFOR, KFORnow.com.
They made the drive in the fourth quarter, made the plays on defense they needed to do to win the game. I always have to be very careful with what I say because people take things I say and sometimes hear something else because my wife tells me I don't communicate the best sometimes. So I have to make sure I say this the right way. As you go through this, the hardest part of what we did when we went to Temple and what we did when we went to Baylor was getting guys not to say, oh, here we go again, and getting guys not to expect to lose. Getting everyone, including the people around the program, not to focus on always on what's wrong, but what's right, right? And that's hard, right? You're constantly talking to your staff, your coaches, your players. Last week was a low for us since we've been here. Because the minute the game got hard, we kind of looked around like, oh no, what's happening to us? Kind of victims, like, yeah, this is happening to us. And this was a hard week. This was a hard week. But a week that I knew, because of my experiences, we would turn into something good. We would teach. The players would see us, instead of us being defensive as things are said, they would see us stand like men. Anyone can just be defensive. Like just stand like men in front of them, not blame the players, but work hand in hand with them. And we expected to come here and win the football game. We expected to win. And so I say this, to me, it's so hard because you don't want it to sound like a moral victory because we lost. And we're not here to lose. We're the University of Nebraska. We're not here to lose. But in terms of the development and growth of what you're trying to build, because while the world, everyone wants things to happen quickly, if you want it to be sustainable, if you want it to last forever, you have to do it the right way. I get asked a lot of questions about, why aren't we doing it this way, that way? We're trying to build something sustainable. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Who knows? A lot of you guys have seen a lot of guys come here, try to do it, and it hasn't worked. So I'm trying it a different way. I was proud of that football team today. I was proud. They didn't back down. They had some really tough breaks. They had some things really go against them, even the way we started. And they competed. It was the first time. It's the first time since I've been here that I felt a championship mindset in the locker room. Along with the championship mindset, as those who compete know, comes utter disappointment when you lose. So that part's hard. It's hard for the guys. But I saw a group of guys, even at the very end, take the field, going out there to make one more play, have a chance to compete against one of the best teams in the country. So I thought they grew up. I challenged them. It better look this way next week. Some of the football still's tough. It's hard. You're literally, you have some of our administrators that hear me on the field. I'm still, you got some young guys out there. You're still coaching things out there in the middle of the game that in a year or two, you hope that it's second nature. It's just what it is. But for those of us who believe in the long way, the hard way, for those of us who haven't had things handed to us, for those of us who believe in building, for those people who believe in putting in an honest day's work, like I hope while they're disappointed, they're proud of what they saw, of what they competed. And while I yelled at the officials sometimes and all that, our players didn't let it bother them. Our players just continued to compete. Thought we played with class and dignity. We had a chance to win. So I know that's long. I know it's hard. I don't say that to justify what we're doing. I'm saying that so our players will understand why I'm so proud. Not satisfied. That's very, very, very important. There are no moral victories, but proud. With that, I'll take what questions you guys have.
Can you discuss how you had success against Ohio State's run game, both what you guys did well and what you might have been able to take advantage of in terms of what Ohio State was doing?
I thought our defense was dominant all day. Save 3 plays, take away 3 plays. I think on the first one, we were playing a little 3 down and we took advantage of it. Tony did such a nice job. We kind of recognized pretty early we were going to be able to rush the passer, so he went back to 4 down. The second one, kind of a condensed set check, and they just, Jeremiah is a really, really good player. He ran by us, and just a nice play by them. Just they made a play, right? And then really the third one, they just kind of ran a double move out and up and just caught us in the zone coverage where you need someone just to make a great play. We just, we didn't see it. But other than those 3 plays, I think that was probably as good a defense as I've seen, for most of the day. I thought we tackled well, we handled the run, we won on the perimeter, we hit the quarterback. I think my eyes aren't very good, so it's hard. I don't know what the third down numbers were, but I thought we were excellent on third down, including some 1 for 10, some 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s, a 4th and 1 stop. So, we won until the last play, we won the turnover battle with Malcolm's great pick. So, I don't think it was anything special. They have a great run game. Chips, they've got great players, got a great coach. I think our guys just played really well, played physical, played hard, got off blocks. We didn't do anything real special today.
Ohio State's defense is obviously really good. There's moments, obviously, I'm sure you mentioned about here. It's a goal line situation, 4 plays from the 7 holes on the run. Walk us through the process of those play calls and things like that.
Yeah, I think you have the ball down there, you need to score a touchdown. I can only really probably talk about the last one. We had them set up to run the speed sweep. We thought we'd get in. When Jalen went down, we thought Jalen went down inside the 1. You know, as the official came out, he's coming down like on the 1 yard line. And then as he runs out, and that's how you spot balls, right? Kind of goes to the 2. We lost Barrett, our fullback, last week. So we had to use defensive players. So we send them out thinking the ball's in the 1. As the ball gets respotted back to the 2, and you probably saw me pretty animated about it. Now you're calling that play from the 1.5, 2 yard line. I think the same play happened right before the half, right? Like we thought we had a first down. So then we had to, burn it. So, and I'm not complaining about the officiating. I'm just telling you the impact. And when you're on the road in this environment with the noise and all the things that are happening, credit to the Ohio State fans. What a great environment. I mean, the red coats, from the minute you get here, they're nice and friendly to you, and the game starts, and they're here to make that hard. A ball you think spotted somewhere that gets moved back really affects the play calls that you have. I do think, you can't. It's hard in life, I mean, they have to find, at the end, when you look at the results, if they don't work, they don't work. But you're also saying to yourself, the best things we did today were also Dante on some big runs, and so, if you want to run the ball, you have to sometimes be willing to have a 2 yard gain, a 3 yard gain, which sets up now a ball outside, which we thought maybe Jay Lloyd would score on. And if not, we said, we'll get the ball down inside the 1 and we'll pound it. If it's 4th and 3, then we'll throw the ball in. I think the spot got us. And again, I didn't want to use a timeout there in the second half. Maybe I should have. But I knew the game would come down the end. We need the timeouts. And the other thought process being, if we run the ball, if we pound it in there, we run the ball at the 1, score. If we don't get it, we'll get the ball right back, which we did. And that's kind of the thought process down there.
Can you detail that championship mindset that you saw and when and how that came through to you in the locker room over the week? And when did you see it?
I think I've been pretty consistent in saying, to you guys, I think the guys do a great job during the week. It's getting to these moments and saying, here we go again. I'm just, again, I don't want anyone to take anything I say the wrong way, because everything I say is with peace and love. But when they haven't won, and then the commentary around them is always pretty like, hey, this isn't good enough. They're in a culture where all they hear is like, this isn't good enough. And so how do you get them through that? You push them through that. It's just what it is. Like, you push them through that. And so we always work hard. I've never had a time where I thought the guys didn't work hard. But I thought they went out there. I mean, the game couldn't have started any worse. I mean, it's like, holy smokes. And the defense took the field like last year and said, let's go get a stop. They got to stop. But I thought it was before the game, and I thought it was at halftime. Really, at halftime, I told them. Because last week I said some different things to them at halftime. And this week at halftime, I said, this is what it's supposed to look like. If I start worrying about the results only, and you had a coach, you had Coach Osborne, who all he talked about was the process and not the results. I mean, everybody knows what it's supposed to look like. Coach Osborne taught us. He showed us. Like, worry about the process. And so, to me, the way it felt at halftime was the process. Like, they were excited to get back out there and play. They were not like, oh man, I can't believe I can't believe they called OP offensive pass interference on that play. They weren't worried about that, which a lot of times our guys have worried about. You always got me saying, like, just play. What's next? Just play. What's next? And so I felt like a lot of the things we talk about took hold today. And that to me is something I feel relieved. I feel despondent that we lost the game. I thought we were going to win the game. I feel beat up for the guys. But I know when I say these things, a lot of people are probably going to take them the wrong way. I also know, like, across the country, I tell Troy, like, I got college coaches who text me sometimes like, hey, Matt, listen to your press conferences every week, because I'm really honestly doing my best for people who want to hear it, not pick it apart, but want to hear it, trying to give everyone a step-by-step picture of what we're trying to do. It's easy to pick apart. But like, I'm just trying to like lay it out there for people who love coaching and love kids. You know how hard it is to like come up here every week and talk about what went wrong without ever making a kid look bad. Like, I listen to coaches all the time talk about, we got to execute. That means your players aren't very good. When coaches say we just got to execute better, they're throwing it on the kids. And just, we stand up here and we try so hard to give everyone a true picture. Because one thing I love about Nebraska fans is they love football. They want to know the hows, the whats, the whys. And I listen to the people I trust. Like, I called Coach Osborne on Sunday. I said, Coach, got 5 minutes for me? What do you think? Coach Osborne and Coach Solis came to practice on Tuesday. Coach, And the old things are the real things, are the good things. And so I'm only saying this now because I want our players, if they just listen to this press conference, to know how truly, truly, truly excited I was to be in that locker room with them. I didn't have to be a cheerleader today. I didn't have to be like, come on, you can do this. Like, they were like, get out of the way. And we've had moments like that. That was 60 minutes of that today. You know, Dylan went into the tent before the last drive. I'm like, hey, Heine, get ready to go. And Dylan comes back out. He's like, let's go. And, Dylan didn't want to just be in the game. He wanted to go win the game, right? And it got really, really, really loud. So we had the false start, and we don't miss a play. But so the football will get better. The football will continue to get better. But make no mistake, the hardest thing is building a culture of championship caliber expectations without winning. There's a lot of guys that have taken a lot of jobs that are already winning and they keep it going. I should probably try that sometime. But this to me is why the Lord put me on this earth. Like, to work with young people and to have them raise their expectations. And it's why these guys are here. I mean, that's Dylan, Jacory. They could have gone somewhere where they were already winning. They came here to build it. So I'm proud of them. And I say all this because I hope fans are disappointed, but I hope they're proud of them. Now, if we don't do it again next week, Mitch, to your point, if we go out there next week and we're front runners again, then it was all for naught. Like, this is a step, and it has to be where we are now, that we play this way every week. Yeah, football has to be better, but anyway, my take.
How much did you guys see John make those kicks and how it lifted the team maybe in the locker room?
Well, I'm so fired up for him. And again, on the same vein, on the same point, because even last week, I think Mitch asked me, like, hey, did you not kick it because of, and I said, hey, I think he's going to make these kicks. And that was a great question. I'm not saying that, Mitch, to you, please. I think it's the right question, right? But if you go back to my answers, I was like, hey, I think he's going to be a great kicker someday. I mean, I've said that on record. Like, I think he's going to be a great kicker someday. It's just, things take time. But now you have him for what? How many years do you have him for? Him for 4 years? So you have that kid who makes those kicks in those moments. Like, if you want to know why I feel fulfilled, not satisfied, but fulfilled, it's because if you go back to my press conference a couple weeks ago, I told him, I said, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, man. Like, you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death. But in this program, you don't have to walk there alone, right? You walk there arm in arm with the guys. Like, every day he kicks field goals. You know who's standing right next to him cheering him on? Jacory. Jacory. Screaming. That's our starting freshman wideout, screaming. And he made those kicks. I was like, man, I said to Mar before the game, like, hey, if it's a long kick, should I put him out there, his confidence? Brett was like, don't worry about his confidence. Put him out there. So
that was, 13 minutes of Rhule?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we have to get out here for the on-air. So
okay.
Yep, that's why I only got 13, but good stuff there. I can see why people are, giving him crap. I think I saw somebody call him a snake oil salesman, but there is some stuff in there where you're like, wow.
Well, he nailed it. He nailed it with the you can be disappointed, but it's a step in the right direction. You can agree with that.
You just can't go back to start.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking board game.
Right.
So it's a consistency thing. I'm going to stick around here in the digital portion of things. Keep us on Hail Varsity YouTube, Hail Varsity Twitter, Real Red Reaction, YouTube, KFOR, Facebook, and Twitter, Hail Varsity Radio, Twitter, those platforms. Will, you got to bounce out. Thank you much.
Yep. You have a good show, guys. Go Big
Appreciate
Red.
you. JP, you can stick and stay or bounce, whatever you want to do.
I'll hang out. I got you.
Got you. Elijah, are you going to the bar?
I can grab you one.
No, I'm good, but we'll stick and stay for a bit here and get to the stream comments. Thanks for tuning in on KFOR, KFORnow.com. Will, I'll let you transition us just over to the digital portion as we make that break now. And guys, just some reaction to Rhule. And what he said is there for his team to hear, but it's for the fan base to absorb as well. And I like the fulfilled part, but not satisfied because of the result. Mike checks in, said those calling him a snake oil salesman have never coached D1 football, let alone build one. And he gets this process, and he's been dealing with the psychology part of this football program for a year and a half. And he's trying to get their mind right to make it look like football on Saturdays. Defensively, they're further along. But offensively, while some of the play calling and execution wasn't good, it was much, much better. They ran the football pretty decently. That's great. And he's proud of the guys. And I think you can feel optimism, not an overreaction, but optimism with what you saw today. All three phases moving forward. That should win you some ball games in November to get you to postseason, but also get you maybe beyond 6. I don't know. I mean, I've been torn about, all right, are they going to get beyond 6? I don't know. They didn't look like it with Indiana, but they looked just ready to go today. And I think as a Nebraska fan, you can be happy about that. Captain asked me what I truly thought watching this, and I thought they bounced back today. They did bounce back today. Did I expect them to be in it in the fourth quarter to win it? No. But I thought they'd hang around for a little bit. They did, and then they hung in until the very end. I think the 2 minutes with the football, when you have it with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go win the football game, they need to go do that at some point. That drive started off bad with a penalty. Then you went to the short passing game, and then you had another penalty, and they were a bit of a disaster there when it came to money time, right? But they were at least in position, so maybe the next time they get into a 2-minute situation to go win it, they'll be ready to go do it. Defense was incredible. Offense was better, and I think that they're going to watch today's film, finally make that screenplay illegal.
I'm not confident. I'm not confident that goes out of the playbook, unfortunately.
Well, I think there'll be a moratorium on how many times they're allowed to be called. You only get like 3 timeouts. You only get 3 screen calls.
One to the left, one to the right, one at the middle.
But as I watched this, I thought this looked like a football team that wasn't scared, didn't back down. And I think they'll use this as fuel for the fourth quarter, Captain. Fourth quarter of the season as Nebraska gets to November. I think Rhule talked about playing their best football at the last game. I think you'll see Nebraska eventually come together and play their best football. This isn't recency bias for me. I've seen this team look the part enough. They just got to all put it together.
Sorry, I don't know where to go from that. You kind of nailed it.
Well,
it's
we can all sound and act surprised. Yes.
Look, I'm okay. I'm going to go back to what he said, and what he said was spot on. His opening statement, but as much as now I'm trying to put this into the right words. So just like he said, so I can be careful here. And I've said it for 58 years. If you go out and you play with effort, honest effort, with pride in the program, for each other, for the state, you give an honest effort and execute, and you lose, people in Nebraska understand honesty. And if you go out and you play with an honest effort, they recognize it. Do they know the absolute intricacies of the X's and O's of why the triple option worked for so many years? Probably not, but they do understand the game of football. Maybe not at a 400 class level, but for the most part, 100, 200, and you're going to get close to your junior year to graduating. But people understand honest, hard work. And when you have an effort like you had last week at Indiana, and then he didn't really sugarcoat it all that much and say, well, you have those days that what I'm not saying that, but I think as much as he thinks of people trying to understand the process of the program, I think he still needs to understand who Nebraskans are a little bit more. And that's a process for him. Go be rural Matt Rhule for a while and see what it's like to live in Broken Bow or Valentine or something.
Fairbury.
Spend a little bit. Fairbury, go spend some more time in Ainsworth at every Brunswick tavern with Ed Foley, and you'll understand that people get it around here. So when they see what they saw last week against Indiana, and you're just kind of saying, well, you got to understand the process. No, we know what we saw last week. We know what we saw this week. And people are going, that was a great effort. You played a great team on the road. You came up short. Doggone it, you should have called a couple of different plays here or there, and at least you gave your kicker a chance, all of that. And people today are going, you know what? I can see it. I can see the effort. I can see your coaching. I don't know all of the intricacies of why you call the plays that you call. I do think that we understand a little bit more than maybe they give us credit for. But just be honest in your effort. And people in Nebraska are behind you, and you don't have to listen. Most of the people making the noise are the same 5% or less on social media, and they're critical in that way. But I think he, just as much as he's wanting people to understand the process, he needs to understand Nebraska people do understand the process of honesty and hard work and execution. And if you come up short, if the crop yield isn't as high as you hoped it was going to be, damn it, you come back next year and hope the weather helps out a little bit more, but you're going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're going to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and you're going to do it every day, and you're going to make whatever you can out of it, but you're going to put in the best possible work you can to provide. And that's all that people ask of him and the program. But so don't say we don't understand the process. We do. And today we understand. We understand exactly what we saw. Great effort. Just came up short. Let's go get him next week.
Does today offset last week for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I've seen over the last, what I have seen and what I have heard and all that over the last almost 2 full years now, from the time that he came and introduced himself to the state of Nebraska, I think people understood he's a little different. He's organized. He's a great speaker. I get people, love the velvety words and all that, and the ability to turn a phrase. But I think people understand that he's a program builder. They see what he did at Temple, may not understand the culture at Temple and the streets of Philadelphia. You did it in Waco under the shadows of Texas and Texas A&M, and to a certain extent of Texas Tech out west. But they kind of get that. And they understand that what happened at Carolina as a disaster of an organization with a really bad owner and an ambivalent fan base that's probably more Falcon fans than they are Panther fans. But you come to Nebraska, right? And I think he has done a good job of setting it up, but don't have weeks like he had last week and try to say, well, that's just part of the process.
Yeah, it's whenever you combine last week with this week, I mean, so many fans were calling for wholesale changes with this rebuild after what we saw last week. And I was with them. After what I saw today, it enforced to me changes are needed, but it's tweaks. There's tweaks to your process and tweaks to your rebuild that need to happen. And I don't think Matt Rhule is going to make those tweaks until the offseason. That's been his standard as a coach. A lot of people saying fire Satterfield. I think Satterfield's got 4 more games to prove himself as it stands right now. I think he's one of the tweaks that I see happening this offseason is the play calling hasn't been up to snuff. It hasn't matched the talent that you have offensively. I think Satterfield has a plan for what he wants his offense to look like, but he does not have a plan for what will give his offense the best chance to win right now. I think that is an indictment against Satterfield. But at the same time, Satterfield's got 4 more games to prove himself. And that's what today kind of showed me whenever you combine it with what we saw last week. Tweaks are needed. Wholesale changes are not what's needed at this moment in time. You're still a team that's building. You're still a team right now that isn't great, but I think you're good. And the gap between good and great can be massive. But Nebraska does feel like it's moving in the right direction. There's just tweaks that are needed at this moment in time as a part of the rebuild. But one of the things you can't question today was the effort and the want to from this Husker team, which we've questioned before. That was not a question today. The want to, the physicality of this football team, the game that feels like the building blocks are in place, but it's also a game that was so close. You wanted that prove it moment of, you know what, this is going to work. You didn't get it today, but you feel confident that a type of win like that is coming.
JP, you saw a couple of guys that are important on this defense. MJ Sherman coming in from Georgia. And he was big time today. He had a bounce back. Same with Jamari Butler. Three tackles for loss, 2 sacks.
Right.
Really rose hell today. And then your big guys, Ty and Nash, were so great against the run. I thought your linebackers played pretty well. You didn't have Tommy Hill. I thought your secondary gave up a couple of shots, but for the most part was good. I thought Singleton played a really good football game. I thought he bounced back well, which was nice. And season low for Ohio State, 65 rushing yards, 21 points, only 285 yards of offense. Think about that. You gave up a 60-yard touchdown pass. You gave up a 40-yard touchdown pass. So 100 of the 285 was on 2 plays. Back to what you said about tweaks. No, tweaks. It's not that the short passing game isn't in vogue in football. It happens. You've got dudes like Barney, like Lloyd. You've got players to make great things happen after the catch, but you can't keep calling them and expecting it to work without the accountability part. The penalties today were tough, and you saw a couple of guys you haven't seen out on the field in a long time in that moment that have been around the program for a while, have some tough penalties that made drives probably stall because you're trying to recycle some yards. So that's
I think you hit it on the head, and the fact that this defense is definitely they came in pissed off. Somebody stole their snack packs, whatever it takes. If I need to go in and take all the Uncrustables out of their fridge and get them all pissed off so they're ready to attack the next game, great, whatever it takes. But this defense stepped up, did their job. We are without Tommy Hill, who's one of the best defense backs we have, and Herzog did great. Wright did pretty good. There's moments where you wish you could get those things back, those touchdowns. But for the most part, they played a pretty clean game, a pretty good game, and with a lot of heart. And that offense will figure it out. It's going to happen. It's just Dylan, again, we're talking about kids. And they're not grown adults that are complaining about them playing. They're kids, and we have to kind of guide them and teach them and help them grow. And Dylan, in a year or two, is going to see that middle screen isn't open. He's going to see the one guy over here that he could just dump it to, or he'll throw it away instead of getting a 6-yard loss on a middle screen or bubble screen or whatever it may be. He's going to get better at that. It's going to progress better at that. And like you said, Elisha, hopefully Marcus, he aims to figure this offense out and figure out a right game plan, but also to be able to go from the game plan. I know it's all scripted. You got an idea of what you want to do. You have to be able to audible. You have to be able to change plays out. And if something's not working, you've got to be able to see on those little tablets they have on the sideline. You can watch back what went wrong, what went right. And like, hey, we should dial up this play. And that play is going to be the burner that gets us to the next level to beating an Ohio State team.
23 yards, 3 3-and-outs, and a pick for the Husker defense that third quarter. And that was needed if you're a Nebraska fan, with kind of this process we talk about, the incremental progress, and for them to come out compared to how it went a week ago. I asked a question a little bit ago about, does this erase last Saturday? And there's not enough tide to get that stain out of your old jockey shorts. From
well, I don't think you want to. I think you need to have that little thing. Hey, remember what happened a couple weeks ago? You want to have that in the back of your mind so you don't make those same mistakes.
So you're going to hang those up as a reminder?
Could it be a stained shirt?
I'm going to frame that thing right in the locker room.
Bill, come on. Last Saturday wasn't the stained shirt, bro. But this is a new pair of underwear that you have today. That I need sunscreen apparently with that sun glare. Thank you, Walter. But no, Nebraska. Did they answer the bell today? Yes, they responded. Offense has still got a ways to go, but it's better.
That's a performance today that 9 times out of 10 you're walking away from the game with a victory in hand. You played a really good team today. You played a team that, with their athletes on the outside, made one more play than you could today. And you look squarely at that 4th and goal play from the 2, and you say, if you punch that thing in, it might be a different football game. They made it's a footballism, but they made one more play than you today. Look at the interception as well. Like, whatever play that is for you, they made one more play. But 9 times out of 10, the performance that Nebraska put on the field today would end in a win. You can be encouraged by that, and you can still be incredibly disappointed that Nebraska didn't get the win today, because it was tiny little things. It wasn't the big giant issues that you saw last week. It was tiny issues this week, and you can be very disappointed that there's tiny issues, but you can also see the progress of this football team because you were one play away, quote unquote, from beating the Ohio State Buckeyes, one of the top teams in the country. And
number 4 in the nation. I mean, they're a good team. Like, to the point where I've got friends that are Ohio State fans are like, crap, I think maybe Ryan Day's on the hot seat. Like, that's what we did to Ohio State today.
Well, remember going into the game, one of the things that was most talked about what Ohio State was going to do to Nebraska because of Chip Kelly's vaunted play calling was run the ball through Nebraska. It was going to be the Ohio State ground game, setting up the passes from Howard to Smith, and that was really going to be it. And the only way that the score would not get out of hand is because Ohio State would rely on the run, because that's what Chip Kelly, has been able to reinstill, institute it at Ohio State. Couldn't do it. And where was Smith in the second half of the game? Nebraska did a good job of, for the most part, taking him out. You thought maybe he would have, an 8 to 12 catch day, and he did not. And I do want to bring up the field goal kicking because I called for 3, but I know it would not have changed what happened last week. But how much different was it for Nebraska early in the game today when they drove down, drive stalls, they go out and they put 3 on they just got 3 on the board.
It was settling. It's settling down.
Right. The tenor of the game changed. Like, okay, we at least got 3 here. And I said this on the Average Joe's show the other day, that if they just put points on the board, the defense can go, okay, the special teams is in it. The offense moved the ball. Okay, it's on us. We can get back out there and do what we got to do. But in Indiana, it was like, there ain't no way in hell we're kicking a 35-yard field goal. We don't have any confidence in that whatsoever. And now we got to go back out and try and shut them down. And we're not that was not going to change a lot of what transpired last week in Bloomington. But just putting those 3 points on the board changed the tenor of the early part of this game. That we can be productive. We may not take the lead here, but we can, we scored some points. There's confidence in the kicking game, and maybe we try it again. And we tried again. They got 3 field goals on the day, but last week's inability to show any confidence whatsoever and at least be productive that was one of the worst parts I thought about last week.
So don't do it again. Continue to progress forward.
At least try.
And, at least try. Yeah. Our guys gave up because not only were the plays not going our way, not only was Indiana a really good team, not only were the officiating penalties not going our way, it's about halfway through the second half, they just shut down. This time around, they never shut down. I mean, we went for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal to get it 3 points. We got stopped. But the defense came back out, made their job a little bit easier, and we progressed, got a touchdown the next time around. It's never giving up. It's always progressing to the next thing. Just get 1 yard, get another one. Just keep building on.
3 of 4 in the red zone. That one empty trip, the Dowdell leap. Nebraska ran 66 plays. Ohio State only 47. So the game plan of keep away wasn't really even keep away. It was, Ohio State had the ball and then just went 3 and out or got stopped short on 4th down. Nebraska had 35 minutes of possession time to just 24 of Ohio State. That's how it's supposed to look. Dylan went downfield. The things that need to go into November, all right, encouraging that your run game was used and got stronger as the game goes on. You'll need it in November. The other part of this, though, that's problematic is with Nebraska, they just sometimes get and continue to get in their own way with the execution part, and just kind of getting over that hump. And listen, this isn't to, cane them, go nuts on them.
Right.
But it's just that's one more step. So you see the run game working, you see him being physical, you see him moving Dylan in the pocket. There's a little bit more quarterback threat, and it was not a designed run, but the scrambles worked out okay. But what you need to see Nebraska do is just finish one of these things, and I think again they'll be used, and it'll serve them absolutely well coming into November. Play ticked off that you didn't get it done today if you're Nebraska this coming Saturday with UCLA, and then figure it out against USC. Maybe they go get one on the road against USC. But there needs to be a little bit more certainty with what you're calling in some of these moments, whether it be the 2-minute drill or just in response to some of those negative plays. Because, if Nebraska doesn't have some of those negative plays on those short passing attempts, who knows? Who knows what's potentially possible with this offense and point totals.
It's a week-to-week league, the Big Ten. We've seen that this year across not just the Husker games that we've watched, but across most of the Big Ten. It's a week-to-week league. You saw it last week. I don't think this team we saw today was the team we saw last week. It's just proof. I mean, you got to be on your A game every single Saturday if you want to compete in the Big Ten. Nebraska hasn't been on their A game every single Saturday. I think they were on their A game today. You didn't get it done, but if you can bring your A game every single week the rest of the season, you can potentially go still win out. In a week-to-week league, that's very, very difficult to do. But we saw an A game from Nebraska today. We saw the best version of themselves today. And you just need to keep on seeing that best version of themselves. And I'm not going to sit here and promise you that Nebraska is going to go beat UCLA based on what we saw today, because that's not how the Big Ten works. It's a week-to-week league. But if you see an A effort, an A performance from Nebraska, they got a chance to go in every single game that's remaining on their schedule. And I don't think we could have said that last week based on what we saw against Indiana. But based on what I saw today, an A performance, they can go win every single game that's left on their schedule. It's a reason to keep on watching. It's a reason to be excited about the future of this program, because the A performance, when it's there, is good. It's good enough to go win in the Big Ten. It's good enough to go compete, to go be nationally relevant. You got to keep on seeing it. You got to keep on seeing the development. You got to increase the talent within the program. So whenever the A performances do come, it's not coming up just short against a team that is stacked with talent such as Ohio State. But I think you can see what this program can be based on a performance like today. You're close, and I hate the word close, but you can't go one step forward and 2 steps back like this Husker program has been this season. You got to keep on stacking good performance after good performance, because you got to be on it every single day and every single Saturday in a conference such as this.
Maybe Nebraska guys stops sputtering after today's effort.
Maybe.
Right. And I know that's
maybe they don't, but
no, you're right on. You're right on about the week-to-week thing, but maybe you can be a little bit more of a stable fourth in this league, with a lot of teams right now playing up, down, or out to lunch based on who their competition is. The key is to come out and let it fly next Saturday on BTN against UCLA, and really do yourself a solid with your quarterback play, your offense, and keep fine tuning, man. If your OC continues to be your OC, or play calling duties shift, or your job as a position coach is to get your guys to go block and execute, please fix. If you're in Nebraska, for as a player, and if you're playing for the Nebraska fan base, please fix those shortcomings with what hasn't worked, period.
And we've been a month away from home games. So us as fans, the 12th man on the field needs to bring it next weekend and help push our team to victory, which is it's a very it is an advantage to be playing at home. And if your crowd shows up and is loud as hell, and the team is executing, things are working, it's going to be a W. It's just going to happen that way.
And they should be, because the opportunity to get the 6th win, it's crazy to talk about, well, if they get a 6th win, they get to go bowling. But yeah, I know that's a big deal around here right now. And if you get a chance to get that 6th win at home, beating UCLA, which, is certainly a winnable game for Nebraska, the place is going to will be crazy next week. It's a 2:30, right? Terrific start time. Downtown will be live. If you get that, look, people will be happy again, as I've said. 60,000 people will go to Detroit. They'll go to Boca. They'll go to Tucson. They'll go to Boise.
Get me to Boca.
If Nebraska goes to a bowl game, every chamber of commerce with a bowl game will be begging for Nebraska to be there, because they know how well Nebraska will travel and what it will do for that particular local economy. And if Nebraska, Elijah, going back to what you said, if Nebraska's defense plays like it did today, and I don't even think that was necessarily the greatest performance. I mean, I think that's what its week-to-week capabilities are. I don't think that was superhuman at all.
No, yeah.
I think that's what that defense can do, should do, and should be expected to do. And if they do that, then there are multiple games remaining on the schedule that are certainly winnable. But if they go out and lay it down like they did against the loss to Indiana, I'm trying to forget about it. If they see that again, then go out to UC or USC and where it's on the road. Well, we're supposed to lose on the road. Well, no, you go back to what you did in Columbus, and if Nebraska's defense plays anywhere close to like it did today, Nebraska is going to win multiple games down the stretch. People will be excited going into the 61st consecutive offseason national championship. If it doesn't, you better have a 12-pack of Schlitz and some Marlboros, to just relax from the end of the day. But I think today's defensive performance and a little bit of confidence that you showed in the kicking game were both positive steps for where this program should be and where Matt Rhule says they are in the process, and just let that offense be a little bit better. And look, if Marcus Satterfield sticks around for another year, maybe it's because he's the tight ends coach only and somebody else is calling the plays. I don't know how loyal he will be to his staff and what changes will be made. I have a feeling that there will be some, but the evolution of the offense and the play calling has to evolve along with Dylan Raiola. Right. Mm-hmm. If he's going to be that much better next year, then the play calling's got to be up to his capabilities too.
Well, here's what you have to do a couple of things here moving forward. Get to 6 or more. Get this team a bowl game and more practices to continue to develop. Keep the young guys like the McGahees, like the Lenharts, like the Prince Wills, this next wave engaged so that they want to come back and feel like they're ready to take off.
Look at the guys you have playing. It's their team next year.
It is.
It's the young guys team next year.
But you also gotta have enough there, like Dylan talked about today in his post presser, and I can't access it. Otherwise I'd go throwback and hold the phone up and we'd hear from Dylan. But you can't have him having any doubts on if this is still the place for me after the Iowa game. And I don't mean to rock the boat by bringing that up, but it's the world of college football right now, because, it's a transient sport where you can hop away for better situations, bigger paydays.
From the little clips I've seen from Rhule's post-game presser, that did not sound like a guy who's ready to jump ship.
And it's not.
Good.
But it's got to be going in a better direction. And today it went in a better direction.
And that's what he essentially said. That he said, "I couldn't be any more proud of where we're headed." That doesn't sound like a guy who's ready to jump ship at the end of the season.
I think
much better on that.
I think that, look, if it's going to go through Dom and it's going to go through Mom. And I think Mom loves having son here, and they've got another one coming, right? Sister's here. I know Dominic is a larger than life personality, and has done a wonderful job, I believe, in raising their kids, because I've been around them and I'm impressed by their family. But I think Mom likes having him here, right? And he's doing okay financially here. I have a hard time believing that there's any thought that they're not going to stick around. I think there are others. Keep Uncle Luther away from some of those Miami kids, but I think Dylan is I think he's here. But this is something college football has to address.
They
Right?
got to fix it.
They got to fix it, and they got to figure out a way to keep kids here because they're investing a lot of recruiting money to get them here. And if they're all of a sudden they're going to be gone, I mean, college has got to start protecting whatever revenue money they're going to get in revenue sharing, that they're not wasting it on 1-year wonders or one and dones.
What are the headlines attached to today's game is sloppy. Ohio State survives sloppy play. I think a lot of that sloppiness, I'm channeling my inner Billy Madison here, was just how effective and dominant Nebraska's defense was. Ohio State played sloppy because Nebraska made them play sloppy on the offensive side of the football.
Yep.
I don't want to hear about, oh, it was just kind of a look ahead deal to Penn State. Maybe a little bit. I mean, no, they had problems today with the black shirts.
Ryan Day said as much immediately post-game where he talked about the fact that they couldn't run the football today. I think this might be a good place for us to start winding it down because there is a beer over at the bar that is calling my name as Illinois and Oregon gets going, and I want to watch that game. Is Illinois?
It's 35-3.
Oh, is it?
Half.
Oh, that's no good.
Oregon is making Burt really think hard about Ozempic.
I've been so focused on this show, I have not been focused on what's going on over there. I know you can't see me on stream, but I am still here. I did call that yesterday.
You never looked
Friday
better.
Forecast. I did. Hey, no, I did call that type of performance from Oregon on our Friday forecast yesterday. But as I kind of wind it down here, like at least I think we wind it down here. That's one of the things about this football game is I saw it on Twitter. It's like, oh, who could have predicted another heartbreaking late loss for Nebraska? That's not the story of this game for me. This didn't feel like the heartbreaking late losses that we've seen in years past with the Scott Frost era, last year with Matt Rhule, because this wasn't a team that just the entire second half had a gun pointed at their foot.
No,
that's what it felt like with Nebraska in years past. This was a team that was going out there and making plays, and yet tip your cap to the team that is full of talent that made one more play than you. This was not a football team, though, that was shooting itself in the foot constantly throughout the second half of a game, late in the ball game. It wasn't that. That's your reason for encouragement going forward is like, it's disappointing that it's a loss, but it's encouraging that you're seeing progress. A close loss is a close loss, and it's going to sting. But this is not the same Nebraska team that we've watched for the past 5 seasons, because at the end of the day, a close loss is a close loss, but it wasn't in the same way that we've seen Nebraska lose so many football games over the past 5 seasons. It's a team that is making plays as opposed to finding ways to screw it up.
The score looked similar. You couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter when you had a shot to do it, but you feel better about this one because of the guy in charge and the quarterback you have, and the defense did their job and bounced back. Bill,
it wasn't a comedy of errors.
No, wasn't perfect, wasn't completely clean, but it was better. It's better, and is what you kind of needed to see in response to Bloomington.
The game the final score probably is indicative of how the game should have been finished. 21-17, Ohio State makes a couple more plays than Nebraska at home. Nebraska should have made plays when it had first and goal at the 7-yard line, did not do it. But when you take a look at the whole game in its totality with the weapons Ohio State has, the ability to go downfield with receivers who are going to go get open and get the ball. This probably was a 21-17 ball game that Nebraska could have won, as opposed to a 56-7 ball game. That should never have gotten out of hand like that. Was Indiana better? Are they better? Yeah. Are they 56-7 better? No. But maybe Ohio State's 4 points better than Nebraska in that situation. And I think if they played again and Nebraska got that same effort defensively, maybe they win. Maybe a couple of better play calls, a few less screens. Dowdell doesn't jump.
That's totally it. No, you need better execution or play call on offense. It can't always be perfect. You got the run game going. You needed to hit them for 130 130 to 150 is what Barney told us this week, and that's what Nebraska did with some of the sacked yards and losses. But you take the sacked yardage minuses out of that, you went for 150 yards on 30 plus carries, so you were below 4, but it was better. You didn't have a great 200, 250, 300 yard passing day as a quarterback, but you made some great plays. You were moving the football. You were driving your football team. And quarterback played at a really high level today. Your freshman in this environment on the road, which was nice. And your defense was incredible with 3 sacks and 7 TFLs. And yeah, you made Ohio State one-dimensional, and who'd have thought that could happen? Final thoughts: Nebraska will carry this with them into November, and
you'd hope.
Well, I'm ready to plant the flag on that and say, in a week-to-week league, I think Nebraska is going to be one of the teams that emerges in November. Burn the tape if I'm wrong, Nixon style, but I think I think Nebraska will move forward from this and be able to rally. The offense will get a little bit better, but still not immune from some questionable play call. Defense will take this and rally, and special teams will grow and maybe not cost them games. You got options now to at least get points out of the red zone in a tight ball game. So Nebraska will use this to make November one to remember and get bowl eligible. Bill, a final thought from you, Elijah. JP will wrap it up around the horn.
Shaggy knows when you're ending the show, by the way. He hears that wrap up.
He comes out.
Got to jump on air, right? 32 pounds of savage viciousness and fury, Glock carrying dog. Look, what I think comes out of this game, maybe most importantly, and I go back to what I said at the very beginning, I think this puts apathy on the shelf for at least a week, if not the rest of the season. I think people, had Nebraska gotten blown out today, I would worry about the atmosphere against UCLA next week. And I think that what this does is put some juice in the fans. It's a 2:30 game next week. It's not blatantly early. It's not the fun of the night game. But I think people are going to show up at Memorial Stadium knowing that, you know what, number 6 is right around the corner. I want to be there when it happens. I want to enjoy my night in Lincoln next Saturday night. And I think they know that UCLA is a winnable game. That's what I think really comes out of this, is that the questions, concerns about apathy, not with the players necessarily, but with the fans. I think people will come in next Saturday and go, you know what, I want to be there when they get to 6 and set themselves up for 7, 8, maybe 9. Who knows? But the defense really did a great job today, I think, in doing that. Tony White, man, that dude gets his guys to play, makes great adjustments. He understood on Tuesday at his press conference, right? There was so much attention to Satterfield. Tony White, I think we came away on Tuesday going, yeah, I think he kind of has a pretty good idea of what he needs to do. And he went out and did it, and his players did it. So good on them. And it should be a good time next Saturday.
JP, a thought? Yankees going to even it up tonight?
It's going to happen tonight. It's going to happen tonight. No, I think that what Bill hit on was exactly right. It's going to be an opportunity for this team to get right mentally. They got right mentally and in the best way today. Even though it was a loss, it still was a way better loss than what we experienced against Indiana. It proves that Indiana is a better team than a lot of people are saying. It proves that Ohio State's not as good a team as other people are saying, that we were able to keep up with them and get better. And I think, again, a home game is going to really help this squad out mentally, emotionally, and they just have to do their job and get right offensively and just keep trudging along. And us as Husker fans better show up fully lubricated, get ready to go, show up to the game, the beverage style lubricated, but ready to go to be a super fan. And yeah, exactly. And that 6 win's going to come, and this team will continue to get better, unlike what we've seen in the last 10 years when moments like this happen, where you get just destroyed by a team and then you try to come up and rally and you get beat again. This team is learning how to win even in losses, and that's a big part of football.
We'll be back tomorrow morning, a full breakfast edition, 9:30 a.m. Central. Two of us still in Columbus before we flap our wings home. The Iron Horse will join us. The Pride of Fairbury will be in. Bill Dolman, the Average Joe Sports Show, 9:30 Central before we book it back to the great state of Nebraska. So check that out. The Average Joe Sports Show tomorrow morning, the breakfast edition, 9:30 Central. JP, thank you, brother, for popping in. Bill, thank you.
Absolutely.
And Shags Alicious for doing this post game. Real Red Reaction is powered, as always, by the great folks at Slim Chickens. 14th in Pine Lake, 84th in Old Shady. Get yourself a big old plate of wings tonight. Get some salad, maybe some chicken tenders, maybe how about a little Nashville sandwich? And the dessert is to die for. Pour a little vodka in that John Daly, a little more, and make it happen tonight for your college football feast with Slim Chickens. Elijah, let's go have a whiskey.
Let's go have a whiskey. Maybe get some Skyline chili.
No.
I'm going to.
Is that what you're doing for dinner?
Maybe not for dinner. It could be like a little.
I think
post-dinner
we
snack.
try and go 2.0 on the old porterhouse again tonight.
I don't know if my checkbook can handle that.
Enjoy that Greyhound bus ride home, boys.
That's why,
yeah,
I love it, guys. We'll talk to you again next time. As always, like and subscribe the Hail Varsity YouTube channel, Hail Varsity Radio, Twitter. Give that a follow. Find JP on Twitter. JP, give us a shout out with your Twitter follow.
JP on KX.
All right. At Bill Dolman on Twitter, at Herbal Essence, at Schmidt_radio. And we'll be back at you tomorrow morning for the Average Joe Sports Show Breakfast Pod, 9:30. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in as we sign off here tonight anyway from Columbus.
God, let's hope they keep that same hunger next week, right?